Imagine living by a code so strict that breaking it meant death. Not metaphorical death. Literal death by your own hand. For the samurai of Japan, life wasn't measured in wealth, pleasure, or comfort. It was measured in honor. And honor had only two outcomes: live with it or die without it. Now, ask yourself, how different is that from the world we live in today? Where we bow to companies, chase reputations, and fear the collapse of an image more than the collapse of our own spirit. Maybe the samurai weren't so far away from us. Maybe their philosophy is still alive, hidden in plain sight. But here's the twist. While Japan honored this way of life, the West tried to erase it. Why? Because a society that truly values honor over obedience cannot be controlled. The samurai followed a system called Bushido, the way of the warrior. It wasn't just about fighting. It was about discipline, loyalty, humility, and above all, readiness for death. They believed that to live without fear, you had to first accept death. If death was certain, then fear had no power. And with no fear, you could act with complete clarity. Now think, how many decisions in your life are driven by fear? Fear of losing your job, fear of rejection, fear of being less than others. The samurai eliminated that fear at the root. Their meditation wasn't on comfort, but on their own mortality. Not to be dark, but to be free. The West, however, saw this as dangerous. A man who doesn't fear death is a man who can't be enslaved. So when Bushido came into contact with Western systems of power, much of its philosophy was silenced, distorted, or dismissed as barbaric. One of the most shocking aspects of samurai life was seppuku, ritual suicide. If a samurai lost his honor, he didn't beg for forgiveness. He didn't look for excuses. He took full responsibility and ended his life with his own blade. Sounds brutal, right? But here's what the West missed. Seppuku wasn't about self-destruction. It was the ultimate act of resistance. A way to say, you can take my life, but you will never own my soul. Now compare that to today. Most people would rather live dishonorably than die with integrity. We sell our time, our bodies, our beliefs for survival, for approval, for comfort. But the samurai saw dishonorable survival as worse than death itself. It's no wonder Western powers censored and buried this philosophy. Because if workers, soldiers, or citizens adopted the same logic, no empire could hold them. Bushido wasn't just about swords and battles. It was deeply spiritual. Heavily influenced by Zen Buddhism and Shinto, the samurai believed that every strike of the blade was also a strike of the spirit. Meditation in stillness. Precision in action. Detachment from ego. Their training blurred the line between warrior and monk. This is why samurai stories often sound like riddles. The greatest battle wasn't with an enemy outside, but with the chaos inside. And here's the question for you. What battles inside you are still unconquered? What fears, what attachments, what illusions still enslave your spirit? For the samurai, discipline wasn't punishment. It was liberation. And Bushido wasn't about killing others. It was about mastering yourself. When Western scholars encountered Bushido, many admired the discipline, but stripped it of its depth. They reduced it to Japanese militarism or exotic custom. They missed the essence, that Bushido was a philosophy that could dismantle control systems. Because if people lived without fear of death, if they chose integrity over obedience, if they embraced discipline as liberation, then entire power structures would collapse. That's why Bushido became censored, distorted, and even mocked. A dangerous wisdom had to be turned into a spectacle, a museum piece, not a living code. So here's the contrast. The samurai, accepting death as freedom. Living by honor, not obedience. Mastering inner battles as the true war. The modern world, avoiding death at all costs. Living by obedience, not honor. Distracted by inner chaos, numbed by consumption. Two paths, two ways of life. One demands everything from you, but gives you back freedom. The other gives you everything, but quietly takes away your soul. So what do we do with this today? We don't need to pick up a sword. We don't need to live by seppuku. But we do need to ask ourselves, am I living with honor or just surviving with obedience? Because the samurai may be gone, but their philosophy still whispers through the ages. Live with clarity. Live with courage. Live with honor. Welcome to Fragments of Reality.